This could be any one of the many drought-affected small towns and villages in Australia. The drought stories are many. Stock is being reduced daily and the crops have withered in the ground. But the problems of the householders and their domestic water supplies are just as critical. This is the traditional way to test how much water is left in the tank. And in this one, there are just a few rims left. And for the family that lives on this property just a few kilometres outside of Quandialla, that's just 1 week's supply. For Mrs. Reeves of Glen Eyre, water conservation is part of the daily routine. What do you do to conserve all the water that you use out here?
Well, first of all, I go very lightly, just use as little as possible all the time. And dip from one basin to the other to save it. And all, the natural type of things the farmers' wives do, I guess.
In the town, the situation is exactly the same. For the past few years, the people of Quandialla have relied on this old railway dam for a water supply. But as you can see, the level is sinking rapidly. And already the 3 water carters who supply the town have been carting thousands of litres in each week.
Drinking water is carted into the town from shallow wells east of the town.
And what's happened to the wells this year?
Unfortunately, the wells are starting to dry up because due to the prolonged drought, the aquifers that are supplied upstream, as we say, east, are gradually running out.
What are the alternatives?
Well, the alternatives are to go to towns like Grenfell or West Wyalong and get the water from the Burrinjuck supply. Or in Grenfell, it comes from the Lachlan River.
During the past 3 months, over 1.5 million litres of water have been carted into the township. And the carting has been taking place since February 1980. In times of drought, the government makes money available for stock bores to be sunk. But that is only for stock water. It's not for human consumption. As for the people, it's up to them to look after themselves. Local people seeking an end to the constant buying and carting of water have now formed a water committee.
On a drought about 3 years ago, we started to put the bore down here because the town was out of water. And we were carting water at the time, and just as we got down to about 300 feet, we lost a bit, and then we got into trouble over that, and then the rain started, so we didn't worry about it until about 12 months ago. Now the drought starts again, so we've got to start on it again now.
Is this a costly exercise?
It's fairly costly. It'll cost us about 12 to 15,000 by the time we get water to town.
And who supplies the money for this?
Just the locals through a water raising fund committee. And so up to date, they've got, as far as I know, up to about $4,000.
Just 25 kilometres east of Quandialla is the township of Bribery. Population 200. And they're in a similar position. They also have to raise money for their own water supply. But unlike Quandialla, they don't have a dam on the outskirts of town and there is no reticulated water to the town. They've had to start right from scratch.
In our wisdom, we came to an idea that the surface water catchment idea would be the best to do the job, and we called on each and every landholder or block holder in the village to contribute $400 towards this expense, sort of putting down an earthen type dam, and we were quite happy with the response. It was very good. We've got 30 contributors hooking up to the system when it's completed. And at this stage, we've done the initial part of it as in the dam is completed and paid for.
To get to this stage, the local committee had to write dozens of letters to government departments, fight their way through mountains of red tape and overcome many other frustrations along the way. It appears as if it's easier to get water for stock than it is for humans.
It wasn't easy insofar as perhaps it could be termed red tape, that we had 2 or 3 different departments to deal with. This was on the original siting of the dam, and we didn't have much success with them at the various government departments.
Did you get the feeling that the government departments were trying to make it difficult for you to get your own water supply?
No, it's not. They're not trying to make it difficult, but they couldn't be of much assistance to us.
Although the dam has been built and paid for, there's still quite a long way to go. The full cost of the water reticulation scheme is estimated to be $30,000, and the landholders are responsible for all of these funds. The local committee thought that their financial problems were at an end when this building was sold. It used to be the Bush Nursing Hospital, and local residents feel that they owned the hospital because their forefathers built the hospital and supplied the materials. But when the auction was over and the profit was $10,000, they didn't get the money.
Well, we put it through our state representative, which is Mr Terry Shearn, that he should approach Laurie Brereton as Minister of Health on the premise that this water would be used for septic systems in the village, right, which does contribute towards public health. And we got the net result answer back that no, he wasn't interested in doing anything along those lines. So.
The money was returned to New South Wales Health Department revenue. And for Bribbury, like Quandialla, there's still money to be raised and work to be done to complete the town's water reticulation system. And until that happens, this will continue to be a common sight in the drought-affected areas.